Asteroid of fear.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. And on today's solo episode, we're going to just recap the week and we're going to talk about becoming the Subtraction Sensei. Yeah, that's right. Subtraction. That's what I've been doing the past couple of weeks. But in terms of the weekly recap, it's going to be Monday when you're hearing this. So, happy Monday. Enjoy it. I don't know how I feel about Mondays. Um, For the longest, I took every Monday off prior to the Buck assignment, meaning I did have a standing meeting with the Podcast Connection Network, but I did not take any interviews. I did not do anything. Monday was my day to, what do you call it? Kind of feed myself, if you will. Um, it's that one day of the week because it's Monday. It's the first day. Everybody's, it's like, pew, however the track gun sounds, the little starter pistol. And everybody's off to the races. And to be able to, like, literally, figuratively sit in the stands while everybody else is off to the races and you don't have to trip over everyone, I like that. I'm the person that parks further away from the entrance and closer to the exit, and you back in so it's easier to get out. So yeah, I think having Mondays is a day when everyone else is balls to the wall and hating their life. That Monday for me is kind of like a give me. Whatever happens is whatever happens, but there are no plans. There's nothing on the schedule. Unless it has something to do with my wife, my daughter, my dad, my mom, something like that. But typically nothing scheduled. I think that's what I'm referring to. So kind of a whatever day. Yeah. I think everybody needs one. A little wiggle room. Um, I'm just fortunate enough to have it. Not everybody can, but if you can, figure out where that wiggle room is, where that moment is for you as an individual. So you can, you know, have a little time for yourself, tighten up your shit. Oh, I just noticed I forgot. Boom. Add a little light. The men of the house said, let there be light. We turn on the light. I just have to watch it depending on how long it goes because that's a cinnamon little candle thing. And while it does smell good, after too long, it'll make my eyes burn. Can't be having that. So, back to the train of thought here. Where was I going with this? I don't know. Yeah, I was talking about subtracting the subtraction sensei and kind of how the week went. But with the week, I did get my interview done with Ryan McCauley of Smoke and Barrel Briars. He is a pipe carver. I think that's the term that they use, a carver. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. It got lots of downloads, which I'm very grateful for and thankful for. But I had a lot of fun doing that. And that was kind of where I'm getting back to in this discussion here. It's been about 6 months since I've done an interview. I had to stop all interviews when I took on a live-in caregiving role. And so I was kind of nervous to have my first interview again, but excited because I do love to talk and talk to other people and get their stories. And I had a lot of fun doing it. We had some technical difficulties and damn internet kicked us off in the middle of the interview, but came back recording. So if there's any snafus in it, just forgive it, show us some grace, and yeah, it's about the conversation. And these things happen in real life. This is not an Oscar-worthy production of, although it's not visual, so it's not Oscar-worthy at all. But I digress. Um, the point of it is I had a good time doing it, and I am ready to get back. So that means I have to pull the trigger on Podmatch, and I don't know if I'm not reluctant. I guess you could just say that I'm a little hesitant because I know the moment I sign back in, it's going to be balls to the wall. It's going to be Monday morning for me because when I first signed up, there's people matching with you before you've even set up your profile, essentially. So I know it's going to be balls to the wall. But there is like this sense of urgency to get back to that because that's what I enjoy. Yeah, that's the crux of the podcast, the gist. And again, it's what I enjoy. It's what I want to do more of. Therefore, I need to pull the trigger on that. But as you know, if you've listened to the episodes before this, subtraction. I have been subtracting the shit out of stuff. Let me tell you, if you followed me over the past few weeks, I don't even know how many weeks it's been, but somewhere around spring break is when I subtracted a couple of clients that were, it was just too much. It was taking up too much of my time, eating up too much of my bandwidth. Um, wasn't healthy for me either. The hours were not great. Um, the people I've been helping, I mean, I'm a little person. I'm only like 5'5", 150 pounds, 160 pounds, and lifting somebody who's 5'10", 5'11", and a couple of 100 pounds, helping them get up, it's no easy feat, you know? And yes, I get sore. I am still trying to nurse this rib injury and, back injury I had it like in October. My whoop was like, oh, you've journaled about this thing for like 20 something days, like 25 days, 26 days. Because when you're injured and you're a living caregiver, it does not stop for you. You got to fight your way through it however you can. You know, it, lots of Advil, Tylenol. I took some muscle relaxers, some pain medication here and there. Um, didn't really like all that. I don't like all that. I don't like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel dirty internally, if that makes sense. I mean, it fucks up your stomach. Um, yeah, just ugh, that feeling. I don't like that. And I would heal up, get injured again, heal up, do something hard, get injured again. Um, take different supplements. You take energy drinks, 5-hour energy shots, some ketone IQ, just different things. But the point of it is that, you can get going on a run, a streak, a job, a project, whatever it is, a deployment, and you do whatever it takes to get that done. And, because you have to get it done. There is no quit, there is no stop, there are no sick days. And, yeah. And I felt like that's what I did. And I kind of had to deliberately and consciously decide to stop and slow shit down because I didn't feel aligned. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel well mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Um, yeah, no. And so, yeah, whenever it was, it hadn't been that long, middle of March. I was like, okay, I have to stop this client because I'm just making it through, just barely getting through each day. I don't even know how. Some days I was so out of it, so tired. Advil, this, that, the other, energy drinks, lots of coffee, you know, rode out spring break, come out of that, and then the past couple of weeks have just been kind of subtracting anything and everything that doesn't serve me, um, cutting many things out, but I've also been injured, so it's kind of sucked that I've had to cut out weightlifting as much, but I have been walking, trying to get some exercise. And I've been sleeping a lot. Yeah, catching up on sleep. And part of kind of getting, stopping everything. I'm talking even Advil in the morning. At 48, there are some days, man, when I am working hard or that you feel like you got to wake up and take 4 Advil just to get moving, you know. I felt that way. I remember when I worked in a kitchen one time in New Braunfels. I hadn't worked in kitchens in a long time, and then from grabbing pans with tongs and stuff, I remember waking up and I couldn't even like move my hands. Like it would be hard to close my hands, open and close them because they'd be so sore. But that's kind of how I felt lately, where it's like, I mean, when I get up in the morning, part of the reason I get up early is it takes me a hot minute to get going. I'm old, sort of treated my body poorly for a lot of years, gain weight, lost weight, gain weight, lost weight. All that yo-yo shit's not good for you either. Um, but it happens. But it's about kind of stripping everything away. Um, yeah, and just going bare bones and asking yourself. I mean, even like multivitamins and different things I take, I've kind of just really minusing everything out, getting down to a baseline of other than the one blood pressure medication I take and um, magnesium at night. I really haven't been taking anything. So stripping everything out um, to see, to try to remember, like, what does it feel like when, I mean, what did we do before energy drinks? We drank a lot of coffee, you know? Kind of getting back to that baseline of less. Less is more, you know? And and that was kind of where I came up with this, the past month or so has been all about subtraction. But it seems like it's taken about a month to enact or implement because time moves slow. So it feels like, I mean, I have a life, a wife, a kid, spring break, and responsibilities, and trying to uphold all that and get myself on track, you know? Yeah. But, you know, I kind of was throwing around some of these ideas, and I don't think I could explain it the way I was before. Maybe in some of the other episodes when I was talking, but essentially, like when I was Googling or, bouncing ideas around ChatGPT, it'll come up with like, you know, this point of every yes is a commitment to time, energy, and attention. And, you know, every time sometimes you say yes to something or someone, You're sometimes saying no to yourself. And, you know, that's kind of like the power of the no, being able to say no to things. Um, and like I said, getting rid of some of those clients, having to figure out a different way to make money if I'm not going to do that. I mean, it was only 10 hours a week. Um, maybe 20 bucks a day. There's lots of ways I can do that. But yeah, it was kind of that's exactly what I was thinking when I was in the process of making this decision and walking my thoughts through it in other episodes was that, every time you're saying yes to someone else, you're saying no to yourself. And for my health, I just had to say yes to myself and no to other people. I had to slow everything down and just kind of go bare bones, sleep, eat, relax, and just let everything of the past 6 months dissipate and leach out of my system. Be that emotions and memories stored up, um, as physical, I don't know what you call it, but I'm sure stress gets stored up in your muscles. I mean, that's why you have stress headaches. Shit hurts when you're stressed out. If you've ever been through something mentally challenging, it can have a physical impact. But yeah, I was just at a point where back to basics and let all the stress leave. I mean, I've slept 8 or more hours the past 5 days in a row, which is pretty remarkable for me. I'm normally a 3 to 5 hour guy. So when I'm getting 8, 9 hours, yeah, it's like body going into hibernation mode. And I think every time, you know, I don't know why, but it it almost feels like my life has always been this way. It's interesting now that I think about it because part of me has this desired preference for something that's more steady and consistent versus these kind of long sprints, or they're almost like funny car races. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but they're pretty cool. I never really thought about it till I went to one. But you can feel it. And they do a quarter mile in seconds. And then in between races, whoever wins, I mean, if you're the winner, they're rebuilding and dropping a new engine in the car in between the races. So it's like a sprint, rebuild, new engine for new race. But I think I described it too. In my life, I feel like it's always been like you take on a project, or from the military, you're on a deployment. You're going to go out for 2 months. Well, when you're deployed, you're on 7 days, 12 to 18 hours a day, probably a 24-hour day once a week. Um, it's just the way it is. Then you come home or you hit port and you relax for 3 or 4 days and just sleep, eat, and be merry. But there's also, I think working in the ER was like that a little bit because it was fast paced and you work your 3 or your 4 if you're going to work overtime, or you stay and it's like just make it, and then you get like a good 3 or 4 days to recover because a lot of times in healthcare you're working at OT, so you might work 5 12s one week for the next, and you do that for a little bit, Or they would actually offer like bonus plans where you work like an extra shift a week for 12 weeks or 8 weeks. And if you don't miss, you get a little bonus at the end of it. So they could ensure that they had staffing levels. Um, yeah. But restaurants were kind of that way because you have busy seasons. When I worked and lived in South Florida, country clubs, um, when I worked in the hills in Austin, and you know, you got your regular country club stuff, weddings, your FedEx golf tournament type stuff. Um, so it might be like there's a push, there's busy seasons. So my whole life has been like that. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about this kind of like, you know, you push for however long something is, a month, 3 months, 6 months, till your fucking hair is on fire. You push, and then you regroup and relax. Um, but it's almost like when you do these hard pushes towards stuff like that, you dip into this element of burnout and you push yourself. But I said in episodes before that I don't know. I'm always that kind of person that pushes himself to see how fucking close you can get to the edge. How much can you take? And some of that is pushing yourself in every way. You know, you're gonna make it through. You're gonna get through this project, hell or high water, and you're gonna do whatever it takes, even if it's bad for your health, even if it means taking supplements that aren't good for you, burning out your adrenal glands. Uh, yeah. And then it's like you cross the finish line and you recover. The 20 milers like that. Marathons are like that. People do it all the time, I guess, as is life. Unless you're like David Goggins or somebody, Cameron Haynes, who runs a marathon a day, or, how long can you keep it up? But I'm sure even they get injured and have to take a break. But, either you take the break or your body will make you. You will get sick. Something will happen. It's kind of the way I feel. But yeah, also in the subtraction here, we got the courage to say no. That was sorry, I can't do this anymore. It's just not good for me. And shedding what clutters our life. I mean, one of the big things for us last week and this week was I think I mentioned that consignment so we do twice a year. Our chance to get rid of shit. I mean, we're going on 10 years with a storage unit. We need to get that shit out. We don't need fucking if we haven't used it, worn it, whatever in 6 months, fuck that shit. Hey guys, quick break, but this one's important. If you're tired of setting goals that never leave the Notes app, or you're feeling stuck in the same cycle, let's change that. Accountability isn't about pressure, it's about partnership. I offer one on one accountability coaching for those who are ready to show up, not just for their goals, but for themselves, their families, and their purpose. Whether you're working on discipline, building better habits, or simply trying to stay consistent, I got you. No fluff, no judgment, just real conversations and real progress. If that sounds like something you need, hit the link in the show notes and let's connect. All right, back to the episode. Yeah, fuck that shit. Get it out of here. Give it to somebody who can use it. Give it to somebody who needs it. Get it the fuck on. The one thing I love most about the military was you're limited to what you can have and own. I mean, unless you live on base, I mean, off base and you're married and all that stuff. Yeah. Um, but normal young people when I was 19 or 18, like myself, you have your suitcase, some personal clothes, your CD player. Um, Not much really, but I like that. Just like now, I don't need much. Everything in my office, I can pretty much, yeah, I don't need much. Um, well, every subtraction is a step towards alignment. That's what it's saying here. Draining relationships, unhealthy environments. All right, I'm going to switch this back here. You can see me because I have my monitor. So, as you've heard, or not hear anything because I'm sitting here trying to get my view back with the computer, trying to work on these technical errors. But yeah, so the idea, kind of being a transition episode, is I'm going to get back on Podmatch so I can start interviewing because that's, like I said, that's what I enjoy the most. And doing away with everything else, kind of mentally preparing myself and gearing up to accept and when the floodgates open so I can get back to interviewing because prior to Buck, I was probably interviewing almost every day except for Mondays because that was my day off. And, as I think going back into my schedule tomorrow, I think we're finally set up. The sale's gone. I'm caught up on rest. And I'm ready to get back into it. You know, I want to say some of my posts and some of the topics have been, you know, as I just talked about subtraction and what saying yes to other people means saying no to yourself and the power of no. Well, for me, it's about saying no to the things I don't enjoy as much or that weren't serving me, and about saying yes to more of the things I do enjoy, like Podmatch, telling other people's stories, and picking up momentum back with that. I am a little nervous. I'm a little scared because I know once I open the gate, the bull's going to come out bucking, and I'm going to be back to holding on. And I feel like I just barely rested up and recovered from this past 6 months. If I'm totally being honest, man, it has been rough. Um, the injuries alone, yeah, the back, the rib cage, all the things to the chiropractor. I haven't even been in a couple of weeks because my rib cage has been so sore that I can't even lay on my stomach for the front stuff. And I mean, even just rolling side to side in the bed's been a challenge, but we're doing it. We're getting through it. And yeah, you know, I stripped myself down mentally, physically to ground zero, and it's time to build back up, move forward, start putting the right things back in, um, treating myself right physically, mentally, spiritually, and saying yes to more things that are aligned with me and that serve me and fulfill me, and making sure that I'm remaining aware of the boundaries I need to set for my long term goals. because I have a vision for the future, and I need to make sure that all the things I'm doing move me closer to that future and not further away. That they're at least in the same ballpark, if you will. Yeah. Shout out to Gray Hair Wear. Tomorrow Needs You. Marcel. Sporting his shirt right now. You can go check him out on TikTok, Facebook, IG. Grab you one of those. They got some cool colors there, these baseball shirts, which I love. And it was a cold day here in Texas. So decided to go out with the 3/4 sleeves. Even though I had to wear sweats and a hoodie to the gym today, it was in the 40s. It was a little ridiculous. Yeah, it's fucking April. Come on now. Don't need to be 40 something degrees. No. But as is the state of the world, the government, the weather, everything's a little jiffed. So, because the world is a crazy place and is a little jiffed, make sure you come back here. Tune in here. I'll always keep it real with you. You can know that you're not alone. You're not in this shit show alone. We probably dislike a lot of the same things. Some of the same things probably irritate us. Maybe you can learn something. Maybe you hate me and you want to comment that. Go for it. um, yeah, that's why I'm here to be consistent and because I didn't even really want to do this. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about somewhat, um, but just wasn't feeling it. But fuck your feelings. This is what I do. And once I got on here, I'm actually enjoying myself. I'm actually a lot happier and feel a lot more positive about it now than before I did when I started. I just had trouble getting started. So you're going to have those moments. Fuck your feelings. Stick to the plan. Do the shit you want to do more of. And say no to that bullshit you don't want to do more of. Figure it the fuck out. I'm grateful, lucky, thankful to have a wife and a family and to be in a position that allows me to do this. Hasn't always been possible. And yeah, just keep fucking grinding it out until this is it. This is the main thing. Because this is what I want to do. It's what I'm most comfortable doing. Um, yeah, find whatever moves you. Say yes to that. Say no to the bullshit. Subtract some things out of your life. Get back to ground zero. You know, detox from caffeine, supplements, over the counter, prescription, whatever it is. Get back to, unless you just absolutely fucking need it. Like I take blood pressure medication because I have to have it. I've had to have it since I was 25. For 23 years now. I've had to have it. So, you know, I am huge on not wanting, if that makes sense, not depending. Um, and that's part of the subtracting is like I don't want to be dependent on anything. I don't want to have anything. I don't even like to want. Like, yes, it would be nice to have a new car, but I don't want a new car. I have all my needs met. I have a roof, I have food, I have a family who loves me. Um, Maybe this or that would be nice to have, but I don't need, and I definitely don't want. But yeah, that whole I want. If you can get away from that, I want and I need or I have to. Um, I mean, imagine if something really fucked up happened in the world and you could no longer get your prescription that you had to have. And maybe the only reason you have to have it is because you don't take care of yourself properly. Maybe it's something you're addicted to. But to wake up and have to depend on that, depend on anything, not something, mm-mm. That's what it's about. That no matter what comes to you, it's a bonus. It's a value add. But if you don't want nothing, if you don't need nothing, if you're not depending on anything, if you're just good where you're at, as you are, and everything's a bonus, then yeah, that's why I like to strip everything down, subtract everything out, even my wants and my desires. Then everything else is a bonus. If I want for nothing, need for nothing, and depend on nothing, that's real freedom. I got one blood pressure pill to get off of. Will I ever? Maybe. Maybe not. But during the zombie apocalypse, I can manage my blood pressure. Maybe, maybe not. I can always be healthier and try to keep it down and use techniques outside of medication to do that. But I'm only contending with one thing. Imagine if I had diabetes and, I used to take 9 prescriptions for many different things. So, you know, zombie apocalypse happens and you take 9 prescriptions and now you got 9 fucking problems to deal with. Mm-mm, not a good place to be in. Although I don't know how long till we get a zombie apocalypse, but that's kind of old school shit. Yeah, those shows are kind of old and over. But the world is in a crazy place, and you never know what the fuck could happen um, between weather events, natural disasters, governments, UFOs. Who knows? But that's just kind of how I think is um, the better off you can be without needing or wanting. I just think the better it is. If I can just teach that to my wife and my daughter, we'll be good to go. They're actually pretty good. But they typically want more than I do. But mine has been a long time. I've understood this that some of the happiest times of my life was when I had the least. I only had a few things, a guitar, no cable, no nothing. Just exercise, went to school, which was learning, and discussion oriented, kind of like a podcast, and exercised and worked in kitchens, which was cooking and go out and listen to music. That was my life. Quite enjoyable. Didn't want much, didn't need much. Didn't even have a high paying job, but still had money saved because I didn't want much or need much. That's the benefit when you don't want much or need much. You know, when you're working, you're not spending. When you say no to something, you're saying yes to yourself. Yeah, almost not wanting more things come. Or maybe it's just more availability because you don't want. I don't know. I don't know how that works out. Universal law and all. Manifestation. Universal law. Because there's that whole thing of, you know, uh, how many people out there found their significant other when they were looking versus when they weren't. There was that old adage when you were in high school or maybe even like your young teens or 20s or however you want to say it, if you always find love when you're not looking. It's when you want, and you're out there trying to meet the girls and you're going to the bars or the nightclub and you're, you know, taking the shots, asking for numbers, fucking strike out, strike out, strike out. And then it's like, oh, maybe you're at the fucking grocery store and you just run into somebody unexpectedly and it just fucking works out. I mean, when I met my wife, I'd come off of a horrible breakup. Didn't think, want nothing with relationships. Knew her from work and she just knocked on my door one day to hang out because her relationship was not going well and she was in the process of separation and divorce and um, so I don't think she wanted anything either, really. Yeah. In April 1, we just celebrated being together for 19 years. So, yeah. But I think about that. It always comes when you're not looking for it. When you want it, want it, want it. It's that whole like release and let go. Um, hmm, maybe I shouldn't want a successful podcast and maybe it'll be successful. Uh, if it helps anyone, then I guess it's successful. If anyone gets enjoyment, gets a different perception, or gets something out of it, um, yeah, then it was worth it. Just figure out how this is all going to work out heading into year two, coming off of like a 6 month interview break, 3 month podcast break. The dumbest thing ever, losing momentum, trying to do something else. But hey, if you don't try, you don't know. Um, yeah, fuck it. If nothing else, I tried, right? Sometimes you just find out what you enjoy more. It is what it is. But on that note, it is time for me to get this fucking week started. So if you're listening to this on Monday, I hope you go out there and you fucking crush it. Figure out what's for you, what you need to double down on. Just like when I leave this, I'm going to double down on podcasting. Back into Podmatch so I can get some interviews this week. So, hey, I can be releasing an interview on Friday and not a solo because I do enjoy solo, but I enjoy the interviews more, way more. So, yeah, I'm going to get off here, double down on that shit, reset my schedule. Um, I may even work tomorrow. Yeah, even though I normally wouldn't on a Monday, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Sometimes it's time to put in just a little something something and that's where I'm at. I slowed down to a halt, got my rest, and now it's time to pick back up the pace. But it's gonna be a long one, so it's not a sprint. I'm moving from marathon to marathon. Pace myself and pick up speed, and we get this going. So get ready to listen to some enjoyable conversations. I'm excited to get back out there and see what's out there and see what kind of guests I get, especially if I revamp my little Podmatch profile and stuff to reflect more of who I am and what I'm about now, because I think I joined Podmatch about a year ago. So yeah, awesome. I had this weird thought today. This is probably irrelevant, but I was like, I saw something with Ozzy Osbourne. They said Ozzy, and I was like, Ronnie. People name Ronald instead of Ronald. They call him Ronnie. I was like, what did I call him? Oswald. Oswald Osborne. Maybe it'd be Oswald. Oswald Osborne. Oswaldo. Mm, yeah. Yeah, it was a picture of Ozzy when he was young. And I saw another picture on Instagram of him on a cane, and fuck. As I reflect on my 20s, I'm in my 40s and haven't been taking care of people who's in their 80s and 90s. Um, yeah, fuck is the word. We're all going to get there. So, do what you can now to make sure it's enjoyable then. Stay nimble, stay flexible, make sure you're out there working out, make sure you're eating right. Um, yeah, what you do now will impact how you're feeling 30, 40 years from now. So, to keep it on topic as we close it out, subtract all the bullshit out of your life and say yes to the things that are going to make the impact 20 years from now. Good health, good relationships, um, good perspectives. Listen to the podcast. And yeah, love, conversation, connection, the things in life that's really important. Stay away from the fucking fear mongering news and all that bullshit. And just remember at the end of the day, good always trumps evil. And love will always win. And it's really all that matters in the end. Um, is to know that you were loved and that you had the opportunity to give your love to other people unconditionally, I think. So when you're on your deathbed, you'll want to make sure you've done plenty of that. Give love. And hopefully you've been lucky enough to receive love as well. Real love, true love, with good intention. So I wish you all the best out there. Go out there and love and remember to go out and be the person that you would want to meet. Until next time, peace.
Let go.